This has been a while.
It's been a while since we sat and done an intro together.
It's been a long time coming.
It sounds like really threatening.
It is.
Straight off the bat.
I'm here to tell you some important information about you and your future here on the podcast.
On the podcast.
I'm only joking. It's great to be back in the podcast hot seat with you. It has been a long time, though.
A long time, yeah. We've done an interview recently, but not any of these outros.
I don't know, I've maybe done one since we've been back, but we're back with the podcast.
We're
going to be more regular.
Groove.
We've got lots of plans from July onwards about how we're going to structure the
July,
podcast.
up to
July we've been flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
Is that the saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Flying by the seat of our pants. Have you heard that one? No, Cameron's a bit younger than us.
He's a baby.
He's a little baby. Really? Flying by the seat of my pants? Oh, well, that's a nice thing. Sorry, you can't hear him, but we'll try and boost that. He'll try and boost that side so we'll get him in front of the camera.
But in all seriousness, it's great to finally be back. We were just chatting on the here before we started recording on Shark versus Dyson.
Yeah, we will. That's the thing.
It sounds like a legal case.
Yeah.
And Shark versus
Dyson. And the winner, I have a Dyson and a Shark.
And you use your Dyson to hoover your shark.
Well, that was Cameron's suggestion, yes. But then Marie, my wife, bought another shark, and then I said that I think she's trying to breed them, and Cameron said baby shark, and that triggered baby shark,
baby shark.
I'm sure you remember that one. That probably came out when you were about 10.
He's 11 now.
He's 11 now. We get them in early here at ClassForKids, so we do. Anyway, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's Monday and I'm surviving, and it's, what time is it? Let's see. 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock in the afternoon, the Monday, we're still surviving, and we've had lunch, which is quite admirable. Usually at this time we go for a wee nap on those couches.
Yeah, I know.
It can't happen today, unfortunately, because we have this lovely intro and outro to do for the podcast, which is who are the guests in the podcast. I'll give them a clue.
Okay.
They're not new guests. This is a returning guest.
It is. We've had on the podcast once before.
Yes. But
two
of them.
So dynamic duo. Based in Glasgow-ish, outskirts of Glasgow. Tots United, that's right. And this time they were coming in as part of... Well, actually, we've been in touch with them all these years. We've been in touch with them since, I remember, 4 years probably. Yeah, the first time we sort of spoke to them was when we were running Future Coaches, which for those of you who don't know what that is, it was a ClassForKids event we ran specifically for football academies, football development sessions, anybody that ran in that kind of space. And we hosted them here in the ClassForKids office, had a day of business mindset training. We had talks from different people that were customers of ClassForKids, various stages of business, and it was a really good day, and we ended with some fun sessions, and therein grew the relationship of ClassForKids and Tots United.
And therein grew the business of Tots United further and further. I mean, we'll take complete credit for it, guys. We'll take credit at this point because we know you're listening. No, absolutely nothing but hard work went in from their side, but it was good to know that even going back to then, they acknowledged that kind of helped things kind of inspire along the way. Future Coaches was one of the ones that kind of put them in front of peers who were entrepreneurs and also franchises, football franchises, and that kind of inspired them on their journey a little bit. But shall we go into the interview? I think we should, and I think you, if you're listening or you're watching this, definitely have a notepad and paper or notepad and pen, because there is a lot to unpack in this episode. It's nearly an hour's worth of content that we're going to delve into, but there are some super helpful things in terms of how to grow your business without necessarily having to put huge KPIs on it. And things like that, but we'll cover that off in the outro, so just go and get your pen and paper, quick, go now, and there'll be a little bit of music, and then you get to hear them here. They are Tots United.
Welcome back to In the Club, Ajay and Yousif. For anybody who doesn't know who Tots United is, who are you, what do you do, and tell us a little bit about Tots United.
Great, thanks for having us back in the studio. Delighted to be here. It's always a great honour and a pleasure to visit you guys at the ClassForKids HQ. So Tots United, it's a multi-award-winning premier provider of fun and engaging sports classes, specially designed for young children from 18 months up to 8 years old.
Yeah, you like the way they said multi-award winning first.
Multi-award-winning,
I was the best. That was really good, yeah. That's a great kind of lead-in. And from your perspective?
So we're all about getting kids active, moving and inspiring them, and we start as young as 18 months, so it's been brilliant.
18 months, that's how old my wee boy is, so maybe I have to find some classes. So you've been on the podcast before because I've welcomed you back. Now, we were asked as an interview before I had my child,
And there was lots of exciting things in the works and in the plans. So maybe for listeners who listen to that podcast, we can flash back to what was said on that podcast in quick snippets. Where was the business then? And we've been nearly 2 years on from there. Where are you now? Because I know there's lots of exciting things happening at Tots United.
Yeah, so I think even just in terms of like kind of where we are in terms of our own classes and programmes, so we started like with a few handful of classes, and now we're about 20 locations, and we've got partnerships with kind of multiple kind of school enterprises now coming in, so it's just been phenomenal. And in terms of books and things of kids coming in, we've now got like hundreds of children coming in, week out, in terms of our classes, with not only our football programme but also our gymnastics programme as well. So we've got a dual programme. We've run football classes and gymnastics. Gymnastics is similar. It's 18 months to 8 years old, and it came from parents. They were looking for their children to get involved in other activities, and obviously I was a PE teacher at the time, and I said, look, put my hand at anything, and then we thought that gymnastics complements football really well, and that programme has been going strength to strength, and we've now obviously started a franchising journey as well, a lot more earlier than we had anticipated. I'll let this man speak about franchising.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so much happening since that time, and I think the last time we were in, we were just about to start with, I think we had just signed our first franchisee. That's right. So he's been a success, a real success story, which is what we wanted, and he's flying. He's doing so well. We couldn't have, wanted anything better for him. He's got a thriving business. So proud of him, and that's our success story right there. That's proven our franchise model, which we felt at the time was going to be an exceptional proposition, and now it's proven. So that's now put in motion further scope on that front. So that's excellent. We, as AJ mentioned, we introduced the dual sport model to our business. That's been a success. Tots United Gymnastics goes from strength to strength, welcomes a lot of kids, and the club. It's just a kind of special way of. A special approach, a fresh approach to gymnastics, because I don't know if you guys know this, but with a lot of gymnastics clubs, when parents are taking their kids along to them, they take them, they drop them off, the curtain goes, and it's like, right, parents, see you later.
Yeah, we know it really well.
And that seems to be the norm for gymnastics in Scotland. We don't take that approach. Yeah. We're like, there's no curtain that's getting pulled. Parents, welcome to stay, welcome to observe, see your child in action, see how well they're doing and progressing, and that's proven to be it's went down really well. So yeah. So
we went out. I came out to see you, probably was about 2 years ago now. We came out to do a club shoot on a really very beautiful sunny day, and you were doing the gymnastics then. Had that just started then?
That's right. That was kind of at the kind of early doors. We weren't sure because it's something that the parents had asked us and things, and we were hugely successful with football. And thought, look, why not? Let's do some gymnastics, and it's been brilliant. That class is now going. We've got evening classes as well, and we've got some other classes now looking to start up as well.
And is it the curtain, right? I like that analogy, because that to me makes me think it's not real competitive gymnastics. It's fun you're having behind that invisible curtain now, which is good, because a lot of gymnastics can be very kind of competitive,
highly disciplined,
and turn people off a lot, particularly after a certain age, particularly with people that we've sort of talked to and dealt with in the past. So is it purely just fun, activity, and getting the kids moving?
Absolutely, that's the main approach that we take with it. Having said that, we do recognise that as kids are getting older, they're getting more serious about it. We've got a Monday evening class, for example, which is aimed at supporting those kids who may want to go into development squads. And so that class, it's slightly more advanced. It's introducing more advanced gymnastics practices, but it's still not that really tough discipline. Everything that doesn't need to be done to a T. It's still incorporating that fun enjoyment element, and that's at the forefront of our gymnastics programme.
This is at the forefront of your football as well, really. Again, having been out, it was just everybody was having a great fun. There's smiles on everybody's faces, and the parents and all that on the sidelines aren't shouting.
Yeah,
it's all smiles and clap.
Aye, but just to expand on that a little bit, Stephen, because it was a great point that you made there. At that age, when they're between 6 and 9, for example, and they are taking it a bit more seriously, they could very much go and filter into the development squads that they want to, but they choose to remain at Tots United Gymnastics, and that's very interesting. And it's also interesting that Monday evening class that has that's one of the most popular ones. Yeah.
Since we started that class, that's just been on demand.
So
all the time.
Do you ever foresee going beyond then? You know, like into that development squad. So how would that look?
I mean, possibly. I speak to the coaches all the time about like kind of pathways. Can we go down a competitive pathway? Because kind of indirectly, this class that we have on a Monday evening, they're very, very good. Some of these children and things, and we thought, look, we could maybe put them through like a competitive pathway. But then some of the children have had bad experiences with other clubs when they came to us, and it was too firm, too strict. They didn't like it. So it's something that we're looking at potentially. And even the age group, you know, at the moment, obviously it goes up to kind of 8 to 9 years old. So we're possibly thinking, because the kids, they want to stay, and we want them to stay as well. So we're looking to maybe have like an older age group coming into that. So it's a real kind of pathway for them to keep developing.
And customer retention, that's like a hugely important thing. So what do you think the secret ingredient is with Tots United? I mean, it sounds like it's the fact that it's fun and engaging, because ultimately that's what kids are looking for. Especially, like, we always talk about this when we have guests on the podcast, when we speak to customers. There's so much pressure on young kids, and you know, I think it is filtering into the younger and younger years, like particularly teenagers, but actually younger and younger, from societal pressure, social media. Obviously there's the ban coming into place for under 16s on social media, but there's also things like, you know, their environment around them. So I think having that escapism and that fun culture, like, do you think that's the secret ingredient that you've found to wanting for people to stay, for kids to stay?
I personally think it's a combination of things. You know, with Tots United, we have very strong values. You know, well, first and foremost, there's Tots United as a community. The community is very strong. The outreach with parents, the you know, we're personally invested in the development of all these kids. We want them to succeed and do well. And I said this last time, like, the main idea behind Tots United was to provide that platform where kids can flourish, and it's supporting their potential. So that's all cultivated within the Tots United community. Then we've got our strong values, our ethos and philosophy of care and love that we spoke about before. Now, these are two powerful words on their own, but they also reflect the values that Tots United classes inspire in children. And that comes across in every class: confidence, achievement, respect, enjoyment, learning, optimism, vitality, empowerment. All of this is built in to Tots United, and that's what parents and children experience when they come to Tots United. So that's an element of it. I don't know if you want to expand on anything.
Yeah, I would also just say, even in terms of the curriculum, I mean, I've came from education, like PE teaching, so it's not like I've been doing this a long time. You know, in secondary schools, I've coached for 25 years plus. So even in terms of curriculum, it's very, very strong in terms of what the kids are learning throughout our programmes. Even the coaches that we've got, like, I'm very picky. You know, that's my remit. But the coaches, I want the best coaches out there because they represent Tots United Gymnastics. So the coaches we've got are outstanding. They're very energetic. They go through a process, you know, for us to come in. There's training with them. I'm constantly on them 24/7, and they know that.
So let's talk about that for a second, because obviously there's so much going on with the football, the gymnastics, the franchise, and let's talk about the two of you for a second. What's your split in the business in terms of what roles are you responsible for? So you're very much kind of in that coaching sort of space. Yousif, so how do we split that? What does that look like day to day?
Or is it juggled?
Yeah, I mean, we're very hands-on in every respect. I think Ajay's is the most interesting one, because he's went from being a PE teacher to being, you know,
a worldwide renowned entrepreneur.
Oh, yes.
It's just, I've never experienced anything like it in my life. Just I went from teaching lessons, and I loved it. Listen, I loved PE teaching. I liked the school I was at. It's phenomenal. Won the Scottish Cup with them. Great relationships. To the point now that some of the kids that I coached, they coach for me.
Really?
So the kids I taught, and also the children that I taught at the school, because I was there for close to 15 years. The little ones come to my class now. That's Mr. Singh's class. That's coming now. That's happening. But no, I think kind of the day-to-day operations and stuff, like, I live and breathe this. You know, this is the classes, but also a lot of the business development stuff. Like, I've learned a lot from this guy. You know what I mean? This guy's like very, very good in terms of his legal pedigree, etc. You know what I mean? And he's my best mate. So we go way back in terms of, we played football together. We crossed paths, and at the time we were both playing pro youth football. And at the time, South Asian football, it wasn't a lot of South Asian footballers coming through. There was Jazz Jutler, that was with Rangers, but I was with St Mirren and used to play with a lot of clubs. But we crossed paths where I was like, who's this guy? And like, kind of looked at me, and we basically just became kind of best friends, and then just being able to coach and learn from him. Even the business, like, every day is different for me. Like, and I said that to the team earlier on, the social media, the media team. I said, look, I'm going to that podcast, I'm going to see lessons, I'm going to do with some sort of accounting, whatever it may be, but you thrive on that. You know, it's not...
No 2 days are the same, I bet.
Exactly. And it's been brilliant. Even the fact that even the international, it's what you make of it.
What about all the hats that you wear?
I listen, too many hats.
Can you mention a few for the guys?
Listen, one minute I'm admin assistant, one minute I'm a call centre, one minute I'm an accountant. There's so many, but you've got to take it in your stride. I mean, I was the same as a teacher. Like I did everything. You know, I was like, what's next?
There's a similar thing in here, isn't there? I mean, there's a lot of kind of, it's just about kind of working towards the same goal, and if everybody can pick up little bits, like, can you help here, can you help there, like, yeah.
Listen, he's going to be a paralegal soon as well. I'm working on that with him.
So that's your background, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm a lawyer by profession. I still am a lawyer at the solicitor. So that's my background, and a lot of that work, my legal background, it's in Tots United, from the contracts to the negotiations to drafting and preparing documents.
All of that kind of everything over time has just been perfectly kind of lined up to allow you to not have to go out and search for somebody else to do all this and to.
But in terms of systems, you won't get many guys organised than this person. I've seen a lot of people and CEOs, founders, etc. But this guy's like he's on my case all the time about this. Like,
same as this. We really start something.
But it's good because that's what you any little small you'll pick it up. But then I'm like that with the classes, with drills, with any kid. I'm like, they need to get to this level, that stage, that. So it's brilliant, and being able to just combine that skill set, and I haven't seen it in another children's sports sector, etc. Most have got maybe my background, coaching, teaching, and then they put their hand into the sport, but not with the kind of legal side where this guy comes in. So I think that's quite unique.
So I guess that's why the model's so successful. You know, you've both got your skill sets and work together, and then you both have your specialities where you can go away and work on things independently and bring it back. So
and learn both as well as you kind of go. And I don't think we, when we usually talk to people that own clubs, whether it be dance, gymnastics, anything, there's usually an owner. Isn't it? I think there's a couple of occasions when there's been two owners, but I don't think there's been any that complement each other.
Yeah, there's mainly like a founder, and then it kind of works, and then it delegates different teams. Yep. But co-founders, I think, are slightly more unique, but actually I think it plays into the strengths of what you've been able to achieve in a relatively short space of time, I would say, because we'll go on to franchising and we'll discuss that in a minute. But yeah, I think being able to achieve what you've done in terms of like you're running classes, okay, well, we're going to go to this location, okay, well, let's introduce gymnastics, and now we're going to introduce franchising, and we're going to take that international. Like, you know, you've not been running that long in sort of relative terms. So I think the secret is, along with your values and your classes and how you build those, it's the skill sets that you've got.
I think so, and there's definitely a culture of excellence there that we cultivate, and we have cultivated that from day one. Everything needs to be done to a very high standards. We're high performing individuals. We're operating at a high level. We're operating at high frequency, and you know that brings its own challenges. But that is the fact of it, that you know and everything that we're doing, we're driven by gold standards. There's an element of perfectionism, which in my view it's not always a good thing, because it can curtail you a wee bit, because you're just striving for that, you know, excellence all the time. But that's what it's like. And we push each other. And, you know, I've pushed AJ a lot. At the start, when we started Tots United, I kind of drove that single-handedly for a while before AJ then packed in the day job to go in full-time. And
that was scary a bit. Like, was it scary? Were you ready to take that step?
I think so. I mean, at the time, obviously, I was trying to, like, when I was a teacher, I couldn't do all the stuff when I was a teacher. I'm in school, and people knew. They knew that if Mr. Sound's he's going to go all in on this. It's now or never. Yeah. You know, I'm living somebody's dream, and I'm living my dream. So.
You really are.
And I thought, look, I just want to just go for it. And at the start, to be fair, Yousif, all the admin, all this stuff, like, I was never around to do that. I was in school. But the classes, I said, I'll take care of the classes, don't worry about them. The programme.
But it goes back to your point, like, it was the skill set that allowed us to do it. Like, in my line of work, I worked with thousands of startup companies all over the world. So I had that knowledge, the experience. I knew what it would take to get this off the ground and doing well. And so was able to put that in motion. And then AJ jumped in, and then we've just kind of rocketed it after that.
So let's chat about, you know, you kind of had the skill set and Yousif, from like knowing what it was at startup. Let's chat about franchising for a moment, because I know that's kind of an important thing that's happening and it's ongoing at Tots United. Was that always in the plan when you first started? Was that the vision?
It wasn't from day one, no. You know, we didn't have that thought from day one. But as things were growing organically, we had to then look at what's the best route to scale. And that's where we were learning about the franchise. I already had the understanding of it from my legal background, but in this sector we were learning about how that would work in practice. And then we saw that as a viable route to really grow and scale the business. And so then we came up with our own franchise proposition, the Tots United franchising opportunity, put that together, and we wanted it to be compelling, but ultimately we wanted it to be packaged, put together in a way that somebody else would be able to thrive with it, and achieve their potential and do really well. And that's the way we kind of put that together.
I mean, was the point that you knew that franchising was the right route to scale? Because there's loads of different ways you can do it, right? You can go to new locations and you can kind of own like a city and its surrounding areas.
I think so. I think for us, it's just we were in so many locations already. Like it's logistics, the operations. It's every day. It's constant. There's no switch off. Like you need to be. If you're in business, you need to be. You have a certain sort of mindset. Not everyone's got it, you know. And I've spoken to a lot of other people that are just kind of setting their jobs and except they don't get it. They're like, you're always doing stuff. I'm like, well, I need to. It's my company. I need to do this. It's 24. And we've been away on holiday. He's been out in Dubai doing legal stuff. I was in Tenerife but we're both still doing stuff because you have to. And it takes a type of person. But I think for us, we were in so many different locations and we thought, look, let's give other people opportunities.
Yeah.
People have seen how well we've done. Let's try and give other people an opportunity to, franchise.
That was it, yeah. So our coaches that were working with us, they were doing really well. And we recognised that they had a lot of potential going forward. And some of them, it was something that they had always wanted to do, but never had the platform or maybe the confidence to do it. And so that was a kind of spark there as well.
Yeah.
And actually it was that kind of then paved the way for the first franchisee.
Yeah.
And so that's how that kind of transpired.
And we've worked with we work with franchises. We've had franchisors on the podcast. We've had franchisees on the podcast. And one of the things I remember, we did a webinar. I mean, it must have been about 3 years ago now, with a few different franchises. And what they were saying was, it's a great option, but one of the things that when you start it that seems scary is, well, how do I know that that person's definitely going to live and breathe my business values and actually give the same experience regardless? And I think that's always a concern as you scale that way. So how do you make sure, first of all, that you're hiring the right franchisees, and how do you make sure that they kind of live and breathe the Tots United ethos, values, mission? What's your kind of, I guess, onboarding and hiring process for franchisees like?
So we're very particular about who our franchisees are. We don't have this mentality, and we decided this like from day one. We're never going to adopt this sort of approach of stack them up, pile them high. That's not us. We are very quality driven all the way. And so one kind of strategy that we adopted to achieve that was, we thought, well, why not offer this to our own internal coaches who are living and breathing the brand, who are working with us every week, who are doing well, who are receiving positive feedback? They are the people that actually deserve this opportunity.
That's a really nice approach to it, actually.
Well, it's like investing in people that have already invested in you, and it's cyclical, isn't it?
And you probably get it from Tots United that we're all about empowering kids and their parents. But listen, it doesn't just stop at that. It's about empowering the team and giving them the opportunity. So again, it sits in with that. It fits in with that, rather. And so that's our approach. That's how we get the right franchisees. It's people that we can trust, that we've worked with, that have got that tenure, that have proven themselves. Listen, there's the opportunity for you. And the ones that we've offered it to, they're taking it.
And do you offer sort of training and onboarding? I'm just thinking about people who are watching or listening to this podcast. I think franchising is something I'm interested in. What's the kind of onboarding process? Like, how do you work with your franchisees? Like, what's your process in that sense?
Yeah, so we go through it. There's training. Like we sit down with them. Like, I'll go through a lot of the coaching operations, the systems, like exactly how classes look like. Yousif will go through a lot of the kind of business side. So the two of us will basically go through step by step exactly what they're going to be, what the classes are going to look like, and we would be there for the launch as well. So, and as Yousif said, we get a lot of interest. Like when we went down south recently, this man won a national award.
We'll touch on that. We'll come to that.
Yeah, so like there was people asking us like down in England, because that's a market we haven't really touched or looked on because we're Scottish and proud and things. But there was folk thought we were franchisees, and we're like, no, we're the founders. But again, we just want the right people coming in, and that's why we thought internally. I've been on a few kind of courses and seminars, and I remember Mr. Malcolm actually saying to me, that's from Andrew Malcolm Logistics, and he was saying that sometimes your answers are within. You know, and I started thinking like, you know, like the coaches, how can we invest in them? Like, what are kind of pathways for them? So we've got assistant coaches, lead coaches, but then what could be the next stage for them? And a lot of these coaches are studying teaching, they're coaching. This is what they want, what they want to do. So that's why now that's something we're looking at to do. But again, back to the question, we go through every process with them, step by step, the two of us.
And there's a lot of hand-holding involved in that, but that's necessary because the approach that we take with it is we're setting them up for success. And so that support and everything that comes with that, it's going to lead to success as long as they've got that drive and ambition. And listen, our first franchisee is the perfect example for this because he's not from a business background.
Let's give him a shout out on the podcast.
Yeah, Gary, you know, he's
at the World Cup, by the way.
Yeah.
He's at the World Cup, yes.
Yeah, but Gary is the success story right there.
True.
And he's never had his own business and he doesn't come from a business background, and it's coaching's something he's always wanted to do. He's always wanted to have his own club. Tots United opportunity came along for him. He jumped at it, he grabbed it, and he's got a thriving business now. And listen, he's at the World Cup just now, supporting Scotland, and his business is running in Scotland. It's just brilliant.
So where is he based? Where was his locations?
He's got 3 locations.
And is it on the franchise or? I'm getting this right.
Franchisors.
Franchisees. Terrible, Chris. To select, and where did they have to put in that legwork? To get the locations, to find everything like that. That doesn't come in the box type thing.
There's a business plan they would do. So that's part of the business plan. They would strategise what territory, what area.
To present to you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Gary was lucky because he was the first one. He actually got the pick, you know, and he selected a few areas, and we said, look, you can actually have all 3 areas that you're requesting because he got in early.
So it seems like it's very cyclical. It's very much like invest in your coaches, then we'll invest in you, and then it's like, well, we're investing back. It's this kind of like cyclical retention and sort of investments phase of that. But what does the future of franchising look like? You know, you've talked about coaches that are already with you. Is there a plan for the future for maybe people who aren't with you, maybe might be listening into this? Like, what does that look like?
I think so. Yeah, I think the opportunity is there. But it just goes back to the point that I was making before. We're very particular about who we bring in. And, at that time when we were last in here, we were just starting that journey. We wanted to get that success story there, and it's happened now. And so now on the back of that, we've now got two more franchises in situ, so who are coming on board internally, as coaches that have been with us. One is starting in August, the 1st of August, and the other one maybe in mid-July. So we're taking a very kind of slow, measured approach with it.
Sounds like the right approach, to be honest. Just kind of keeping, you've been saying like cyclical, but keeping it in the family just now until you need to. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
Until.
Plus, ultimately, you want the quality high. Like you want these kids active, moving. Like there's too many. Like I've seen other businesses, folk just throw money at. There's different carryouts of shops everywhere you go, but we're like, no, we want to stand out. So if we were up against competitors, well, we want people to pick Tots United because the quality's there.
That's it. And we don't have an aggressive approach to this franchising scaling. We don't. It's just it's nice, and it's all about empowering other people to have the opportunity. Their success is our success.
Yeah.
That's it. And however long that takes, how it happens in practice, we're okay with that. We don't have targets or anything for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, it's not a big hard push drive.
Yeah, like we need to have 20 by and even the ones they just came naturally.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like these people you're meeting and things like that as well. But it's all about the quality control for you guys. It's all literally about, okay, do they fit us? It's not like, okay, we'll take.
Exactly, and some other clubs out there, and we see this on social media. They're advertising constantly about their franchise
opportunities and things.
We don't do that at all, and that's just the approach we've decided to take. It's not important for us to have 10, 100, whatever X amount of franchises. It's just about the right people and backing them.
And we were chatting before we came on the podcast, you're off to the US shortly. We've talked about kind of Dubai, Singapore, we've talked about those locations in the past. Is there a goal, I guess, maybe for the future, however distant that is, to have Tots United actually running at sort of franchise scale within these markets?
That's the dream, that's ambition, and it's part of our kind of long-term vision and plan, and we've kind of laid the foundations for that as part of our long-term vision. So let's see. Last year we were very active on the international front,
What's the title?
The
Say it, man. Say it.
Chamber
You
of
like that
Commerce.
title?
Yeah, I mean, we worked with all of them.
You do Richard Muir.
Yeah.
You know him.
Yeah.
You know him well.
Various chambers in Scotland, and we collaborate and worked with a lot of them.
Seen in New York.
Yeah.
Listen, it was incredible, man. Listen,
There's a long list.
Two normal guys. Listen,
It's amazing.
like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? I was saying before.
Washington as well.
Yeah, listen, I danced outside the White House.
That's amazing.
Like, and I'm just a normal guy. I mean, I've just came from, like, and I remember speaking to some of my students. Like, Mr. Sin, like, I think they saw things in socials and stuff.
Aye.
And look, if you got a dream, you go for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's just
Anything,
certainly done that.
whatever you go, and ultimately we've been able to get so many kids active and moving. And for us, if we can get an inroad internationally, brilliant. Especially now with the World Cup on, and like I done a scholarship in America. I coached it. I know the market, you know, and kids are kids anywhere you go. And for us, we're also very proud of having a Scottish brand, you know, in terms of Tots United, what it stands for. And we've been told by everyone, like, it's so strong, even when we were over there.
Yeah, I mean, it was exceptional, the international journey last year. We went to 4 major international markets across 3 continents as 2 dads in a single year.
Brilliant.
And, you know, Tots United is now known, like, all around the world, from New York to Washington to Amsterdam to The Hague to Singapore to Dubai, you know, and now, you know, Florida, Miami as well. And, you know, that's fine on the business development front, but there's been a lot of other things happening in tandem with that. We've secured, you know, our EU trademark. We've secured our US trademark, and which kind of paves the way for market entry and, you know.
That's the business big.
This is this guy.
No, like
Yes.
that would slip 1,000 people back
Yeah.
if you didn't have that background, you know. And that's what's so good about the
We've
kind
been
of.
fortunate in that way, you know, that I've been able to, you know, make that happen for us, and secure those.
It's that skill
Aye.
set. It's like there's things you work on together, and then you both have separate bits
Yes.
where you just thrive
Yes.
and shine. It's like, wait, go away and do that separate, and we come back because there's one goal that you're both working towards. Because it takes both sides of it from, you know, like the legal side and what you actually need to be able to do these things, and then there's the curriculum and the actual development of that side of things. They both have to be right in order for it to be a success.
So you paved it already. It's kind of done. So when you're ready to do that, there's no thinking about that side of it.
That's
It's kind of your trade. Surely America's going to be like really hot to trot after the
World Cup, yeah. When are you going to Florida and Miami?
Next week.
And what are your plans for when you're there, if you could share anything with us?
Yeah, well, we've got a series of meetings lined up. I don't know if we want to disclose who with yet, because
Well, we've got some clubs.
but some big names
Yeah,
out there
that are lined up. So it's not just
yeah.
sitting on the beach, it's work.
Yeah.
You know.
on the beach.
Yeah, but it's going to be work. You know what I mean? We're going to be going out there, and we're both relentless. Like that's going to come. Like you go that way, I'll go this way, and we're going to be meeting club, football clubs, gymnastics clubs.
And
And
you
we
say to most people, I'm going to Miami and it's going to be club.
You've pretty much given it away. But
no,
yeah, but not in addition to that, you know, it's also it coincides nicely with the World Cup, and you know, as a
Perfect
proud,
timing.
proud Scottish brand, we're there to support and cheer on the Scottish national team as they take on Brazil. So it coincides nicely with that as well.
You're going to need to do a wee detour by Boston. You're going to have to, guys. So yes, it's a non-negotiable.
Is your video guy going with it? This would be content. Just being on American soil in the next couple of weeks for him.
see if he's got a loud entry.
We can give it him.
So obviously that you've been busy with that side of things in terms of scaling and growing the business, and there's been lots happening in that space, but you've also been busy in other areas. So we know that Yousif, we celebrated this across socials. You won Entrepreneur of the Year this year for the Club Awards. Talk to us about that. How did that come about? How did it feel? What has that done for you, and what do you plan with that for the future?
Yeah, listen, I mean, it was totally unexpected. You know, I actually couldn't believe it when name got called out, and I was like, what? And, you know, it just caught me by surprise. And there was a wee acceptance speech that, you know, that the winners give. I was totally unprepared, you know. I was just kind of lost for words. I didn't actually know what to say. So then I just said the line about the international side, because that was like such a big highlight. But yeah, I mean, what a kind of honour, privilege it was, because there was people more deserving, you know, that they've led bigger clubs and on a bigger scale in a bigger market, England, for example, and you know, I didn't think I was in with a shout, and so yeah, it was just incredible to receive that recognition. I don't know how.
Well, I think this conversation's
deserved it,
given
man.
everything
Listen, you
good
deserved it.
idea.
But it was great, you know, in terms of what it means. It means so much, because it's recognition at a national level, UK wide, out of hundreds and thousands of clubs from across the UK.
And again, it puts your name there, and like you say, you had people approaching you there to find out about, well, what can I do? Can I get involved, or how do I become a franchisee? And it's that kind of thing that, you know, these types of things do wonders for, you know, yourself as a person to be recognised for that, but also for the brand. Like, that's such a huge part of it, and that kind of recognition. And now there's a conversation that people are having about Yousif from Tots United. Well, who's Tots United? Let's go and find out. So it's like it's a brand kind of ripple effect when you get these things as well. So, you've just undergone a brand refresh, part of the competition you won with ClassForKids. So let's kind of dig into that a little bit, because lots of people out there listening and people we've spoken to think brand is the visual concept of your assets, so your logos, you know, that type of thing. Talk to us about how you found the brand refresh process, and how did that help sort of shape and evolve what already existed, because you did have brand guidelines and values and things like that, but how did it help you think differently about Tots United and develop that, and I guess evolve your brand slightly?
Take that one. Yeah, so I think first of all, just even speaking about it all, I mean, it's something like brand, like you touch on it and things, but you don't really analyse everything and sit there. And so going through that exercise that you guys, you know, did with us, it was brilliant going through it. I mean, even in terms of looking how our values, our mission statements, and just even the logo, like just being able to sit there and plan that with designers, I thought it was brilliant. I mean, for us to just go through it and then come up with the branded guidelines, because it's something we've spoken about, but it's not documented or written down or anything like that. So now we have
like,
that.
where do you start? Sometimes when you hear brand guidelines, you're like, well, where do I start with that? But yeah, chat us through what that looked like when you were working with Ben, who's the designer you worked with at the time.
To be honest, we got there in the end. Do you know what I mean? In terms of, like, if we're being honest, we're very standards are gold, and we're quite pernickety how we want things and stuff. So we, but that's just the way we are. Like, we like that with each other. We're very critical of each other as well. Do you know what I mean? We curse each other and stuff. But we got there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a lot of kind of back and forth and things. Like,
I think it was a challenge for everyone, because it was getting us thinking about how do we want this to look. You know, how are we taking our brand identity and evolving it for the next chapter. You know, so it's challenging us, and then equally I think it was challenging the designer, because we had these high standards.
You've got
something special, and maybe that's something that designers are not used to. Maybe, perhaps, I don't know. So I think it was and then the way that we are, everything needs to be is to a fine detail. So perhaps it was a bit challenging for him as well, and I think, you know, we pushed him as well to, you know, really think outside the box, and you know, that in itself is a challenge. So we got there in the end. Our in-house team member had to come in and be part of that process as well, to really get us over the line. And what they brought to the table was again, it's input from different places and sources. It's a collective approach. And then we got there.
Yeah, we were chatting about that before, about brand is more than just the colours that you're wearing, the logo that you represent. It's, you know, your customers, and then beyond that, it's kind of your staff. So we were chatting before you came on the podcast about the team that you're working with now. So tell us a little bit about the team behind Tots United that support you and then I guess the business.
This is just these guys. No, I'm kidding on.
It's supposed to be the world.
Exactly. So, but we laugh. We're as good as an army. Like, in terms of skill sets and stuff, I'm like, listen, you can. But the two of us, listen, we genuinely said that. But like, look, obviously, when we started, that's it.
You heard it here first.
But like, when we started this, you don't know how this is going to. Like, I remember approaching Yousif and saying to her about Tots United, about starting a local. You don't know how it's going to go. But then when we went for it, we just absolutely went for it. But we've got you know, a wide admin support team. We've got a social media marketing team, about 25 to 30 coaches, and obviously we oversee every single one of them, and they're all getting feedback constantly. We do class audits all the time. We've got eyes everywhere, but that's why my role is good as your team, and they're always looking actively. I mean, this man, with City of Glasgow College, we've done an MOU with them, and again, this is where his expertise comes in.
An MOU, AJ, before we continue, for listeners definitely not Stephen and I that don't know what it means, what does it mean?
Yeah, so it's a memorandum of understanding, which I'll let this guy explain what that means, what that entails.
Yeah, it's just essentially a document that brings kind of terms together, and it usually reflects a deal that two parties have come to. So we struck a deal with the city.
I love how you went full lawyer mode and explained that.
But yeah, I mean, so we struck a deal with the City of Glasgow College, which is a super college.
Yeah, huge.
But tell how did that come about?
From New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we met their senior leadership team in New York.
Right, okay.
When we were there for Tartan Week, along with the First Minister of Scotland, marching down 6th Avenue, waving our saltires, representing Scotland.
I suppose it's the way we as well. So, from a staffing perspective, then, how does this fold in?
Yeah, so basically the sports students at the college, they can come down to our sessions and stuff, so they can do kind of work placements, they can come in, because we've got so many different programs and classes on, and ultimately they can get work experience hours and then paid employment if they go through my test. Yeah. Which is great, and it's that kind of wheel where you can get them coming in, because I'm always looking at brilliant coaches coming in to deliver programs.
Literally get that feeding it.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So the City of Glasgow College have an excellent sports faculty.
It's the biggest.
And they run, these professional courses for students in relation to sports. Mm-hmm. And so it's giving them an avenue, an opportunity to get practical work experience, but also paid opportunities as well. That very much complements and supplements what they're learning at the college. So
that's it, because I sometimes find even with the uni courses or things like that, it's like you do a lot of the theoretical side of it, but actually nothing beats hands-on practical experience, and for them to be able to do that. And I just think, for you going into colleges and, who knows what that looks like in the future. You've got one at the moment, but how does that look in the future? But I'm just thinking, you have success stories you can take to young people and say you're going to get hands-on practical skills. And do you know what? Here's some success stories of people that have gone on to do more than just coach. That opens up avenues for kids that they probably never even in their wildest dreams would have thought of would have been an opportunity, but you're actually giving people.
But even when I was in there, I done a presentation to some of the students, I started laughing because someone went, "That's Mr. Singh," and I was like, "Oh my God, somebody." But I was talking away to them, explaining. I said, "Look, as a PE teacher, still a PE teacher, this is what I've been able to do, this is where we've been internationally," and I could just see some of the guys kind of and I would look, if I can do it, this guy can do it, look, you guys can do it, but you need to go out and get it. Nothing's going to come to you.
No,
you need to go be a go-getter and go and get it. Do you know what I mean? That's why I'm coming here, to give you these opportunities and speak to you about these things, and it's been great because we've been able to get some good students now coming in through that. But you still have to keep on top of them to make sure your standards are good, because there's one way how to do it in college, but then there's a Tots United way, and then there's our way, so it's just making sure you keep on top of it, because ultimately there's no bigger privilege than working with children.
Yeah, and that work experience will take them, give them so many skills they wouldn't have gained otherwise, whether they go on to be a PE teacher or whether they go on to do something else, that kind of quality control.
I think even because we start as young as 18 months, not many, a lot of these school placements, being a PE placement teacher as well, where you start secondary school or it's like primary 1, 2, 3, but that young 18, that's a USP niche in itself. You need to be thrown in there. How do you actually deal with those children? How do you interact with them?
I don't know, because I've got one and I can't answer that question, so hats off to the coaches that do it.
Yeah, but it comes back to the point I was making earlier on. It's all about empowering other people, and giving them opportunity to thrive and to flourish. And it goes back, it ties in with that.
Yeah, and we were chatting about your videographer that you've got, because your LinkedIn content for the Club Pub stuff looked very cool, and we've just seen some stuff. So chat to us a little bit about the videographer, his background.
Yeah, content in itself. I mean, really, the content that you've been outputting for the last couple of years. I mean, we're talking about New York just now and Washington. I've seen all this. Now this is just you guys kind of capturing stuff yourselves at this point. Is that right?
That's us capturing it, yeah. I think with some of the reels that's been put together now by our content creator,
Right.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the content creator then, where that hire came from.
Yeah, I mean, so we came to a point where, we are looking to get more of our material and content out there, so we identified that need, and when we were flooded with applications and applicants, so many. All of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, very well qualified. But there was one that kind of stood out to us, an individual who had fled the war in Ukraine, and he's living in Scotland, and he had never had the break that he wanted or maybe needed, and he had the skills, and we wanted to get behind that and support that. So we offered him a role with us, and he's just flourished. But it wasn't just about his skill set for us, it was the backstory. The fact that he's come from that hardship, which a lot of us can't imagine, moved to a new country, a foreign country, started a new life there and wanting to build something for himself, but nobody's given them that opportunity yet. And so we had the opportunity to open the door for him. Here's your first job in Scotland. Welcome, we'll open the door for you, the rest is up to you. And as you've kind of touched on, Stephen, the work that he's produced, it's been, you know, really high quality. We've been very lucky to be able to put that out there. But I think people perform well when they're happy, when they've got confidence, and you can see that in his work. And the work he's producing is so good. And, you know, he's in a happy place, working with confidence. And we're so glad that we were able to help make that happen.
Is he a football fan?
Is he? I don't think he is.
No.
Just an interesting question, because it's the output of the stuff is just so kind of fast paced and kind of
It's that personal brand element, and showing the creators or the founders behind the brand, and it does it really well. It delivers it really, really well.
Now it's like when you're talking about brand, that's maybe another thing that he's kind of built that part of your brand there. Do you know what I mean? Around what your brand and ethos already is, but it's got very, like, you can tell the one, like, they're very good. They're very good.
Well, his name's Andre. You know, Andre. So if you're watching this, Andre, we're very
you need a
proud
job?
of you.
So what we're chatting about there was personal branding, and I think that's a hugely important thing for any brand out there and sharing their content. But I actually think it becomes kind of a pivotal point for Tots United as you look to grow and scale this business, because people, I think, will get a feel whether you're the right business to go for if they're looking to franchise. And I think that comes down to keeping the quality and the standards high. I think the personal branding stuff will help you attract the right type of people as well. So it's kind of doing two things. It's putting you out there in the sort of social media space, but actually attracting the right kind of people. Because I know when I watch videos like that, like if I'm watching stuff on YouTube, it's almost like aspirational, like that type of thing. Like that looks cool. I'm interested in that now. Okay, what do I need to do to get in there? What opportunities are there? What are people doing? Oh, they're franchising. So I think it's just a new opportunity for you to reach an audience that actually could help you in the future scale the franchise network.
And at the same quality as you maintain with the classes. That's the kind of thing for me. That's my more on the kind of video side of it.
The video content's quality, and therefore so is the brand. Do you see how it matches and it marries in?
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting point. And you also touched on the fact that you've recently hired a social person to help you with that. How's that going? What was the kind of crux where you were like, we need somebody in to help manage this?
Yeah, well, I mean, Andrew's doing such a good job with making the content now, but we need it now out there. Listen, we've got a backlog stretching 6 months, and we're still working through that backlog. So that was the crux.
That's a good problem to have. I can tell you that. Like having things that you've just got there in the wings, so you're not chasing your tail.
Exactly.
It's just good to have.
Just making sure you're making use of the content.
Yeah, so we've brought in somebody, and she's doing really well. She's picked things up, and she's had a couple of projects to work on. One was a sizable project which involved getting a lot of existing content out there just onto the Tots United YouTube channel. So that process has now started, and it's nice to see that content now coming through on the channel. And I think there'll be a lot for her to learn, and for her as well. That's her background, her interest, and again, it's her first proper job in that line of work, which is like
you're given opportunities to people, because they're so hard to come by for young people. It's hard. Like the job market, from what I hear, is a brutal place. Like, that's with experience behind us. Like, how do young people get these opportunities? And it's investment for people like you that's helping them.
Well, yeah, I think that's right, because she's still at college. She's doing a qualification in like marketing and content creation. That's her interest. And actually, at our interview, we did speak about that. Look, you don't actually have any real practical experience, but are you confident that you can come in and help us? And it was her attitude, like, yes, I can do this. I'm confident. And so then we're like, okay, we'll open the door for you, and then the rest is up to you. And she's risen up to the challenge. Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough gig, social media, because there's so much changing constantly. And I think, there's this conversation around AI, and there's so much AI slop out there. So actually, for you to hire a videographer and invest in that quality content, it is honestly the thing that I'm like, doing that and continuing it, as hard as it may seem when there are quicker alternatives, are going to make you stand out in the future, because everybody will become so used to the AI slop that's out there that when you see the quality stuff, you're like, that's different.
Listen, that's a great point. Now, I hear a lot about people being AI advocates. Listen, I'm an RI advocate.
RI.
Real
Intelligence.
That's it. Real intelligence. You heard that first. Everybody's talking about AI and how great it is. But listen, we want to be promoting RI.
Yeah, RI.
Use your brains.
You to really use a very systematic.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that there's things with AI that I'd like to go near and then not like to go near. There are things business-wise that can be built and whatnot very quickly these days. But when it comes to content, when it comes to video, when it comes to written, when it comes to pictures, RI all the way.
All the way.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be a thing he's going to be going on about.
I need to write down all these phases.
He's going to do something in the layout space, I don't know what it is. Pasting it or whatever it is, that he doesn't steal it, because that'll be him running.
Yeah. I hope it's not painted this, right? I'll say it and I'll get an order from Tots United.
Now, so make an extra one that you
Sooner than
No, I am in agreement with you in that space. I think where it helps businesses is the stuff that would take hours, if not days, from like a data mining perspective, like getting it to go away and do that. But see where it's like you can actually use your brain to be intellectual in terms of sitting down and writing something, like use it to go away and scrape the data or whatever it is, like to look at stuff and mine that and now engage your brain in the stuff that's healthy, that keeps our cognitive behaviours right. And I think I was seeing something on social media and it was going around like, people are saying if you don't get on board with AI you're going to be left behind, and it's kind of like, no, I'll stay here and I'll be left behind because I'll still have my cognitive function kind of thing. And I think what the world looks like in the future, but who knows, where we were 10 years ago is probably not where we thought we were going to be now. But I do think that kind of investment in the type of content and keeping people in that kind of roles is the right way to go, because you will stand out.
And you can't profess to be a quality premium product, which you are, and then do that. Now, I do see that, and I see that with even people who
McDonald's, all these things.
It's like, so you could take one of those pictures of you in New York and then AI it so it's a video now, but you're not doing that because of RI.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like the AI tools out there are great, but I don't think it should be a substitute for RI. And I think if you can use them with real intelligence, then it becomes.
That's why I think it's kind of like, I done a kind of presentation about this fairly recently, and it was very much like, this is a tool, this is a spanner in your bag, right? Don't make it everything, and that's the real danger. I think that everybody's making it everything just now.
That's why when you see posts and like it's not authentic.
Yeah,
it's everyone's just using.
We see that on LinkedIn. You scroll through posts and we see, we're like, the post is written by AI and then the comments are written by AI.
They don't take out the dash, the very obvious GPT dash. It doesn't like commas, it just likes to do that, and you're like, okay, you can try and read it.
Do you use AI at Tots United?
Yeah, we incorporate some AI tools, for certain things that it can help streamline. So, we do take that approach of adopting those tools, but they must always be combined with actual thought process.
Human in the loop.
Yeah, because we're chatting about it from like an LLM perspective of how is parents' search behaviour changing, right? So, you might go in and be like, what's the best, in ChatGPT, let's say you use that, and you go in now and you can search, what's the best coffee machine that'll produce extra fine bean, has a milk steamer, and will take less than 2 minutes for me in the morning to do it. That'll now produce results in terms of how brands are positioning themselves from a keyword research perspective, how structured is their content for LLMs, and it's like, well, how is this going to impact parent searches and the behaviour for things that are in their local area? Because I would imagine that word of mouth is probably still one of your better sort of marketing channels. Are you seeing anything changing in that space? Are you still seeing that kind of parent referrals, like for kids coming through to Tots United, is still the main driver? How much of your focus is built on your website? Like, what's your kind of split?
And do you have like an SEO strategy and things like that existing in the website? It might be that you've not had to get in there, but because of such.
Yeah,
it's all good points. At the moment, our website is out of date, so it needs actually updated and refreshed. We don't have an SEO strategy. It would be nice to have that. We don't. We've done all right without it so far.
That's what I mean. The word of mouth can do what that does.
Yeah, but these are things that we're actually looking at. So yeah, what about?
No, I mean, in terms of the website, we are looking. We need someone but we need quite a high level of what we're looking for in terms of the programs.
You've got so many things
correct, and the add-ons, and I suppose with classes numbers, retentions is low. I mean, if somebody does go because they're on holiday, it's that high demand, but we've just seen it in our classes. We don't really need to do too much marketing it just kind of comes to us. We're now becoming the go-to person for early years, provision. They want to come to us. They want to go to, like, obviously technical football to these other programs, but with us, we're always we're the go-to people that they always start with, and we've seen that with a lot of kids now that have maybe gone on to some maybe football clubs, but they all started with us.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, I think, as we watch this space, particularly how it affects the kids' activity clubs that are operating in this industry, because will it really matter from an LLM perspective? Will parents start to begin searching for classes, for things where I'm looking for activities for my kid to get involved in? She's 3 to 5 years old in this area. How will LLMs like ChatGPT start to feature that? So it'll just be interesting as a space to watch for activity providers going
I've
forward.
heard of this actually. It's not called SEO.
It's GEO, generative engine.
Generative engine.
So it's about optimizing the search within LLMs.
You know what's really interesting about that is you're already doing something for that you don't know that you're doing, because video on Google.
Yep.
So if you're hosting on YouTube and you're tagging it up correctly and you've got descriptors and all that in there, that's feeding GEO a little bit more than SEO would have in that respect, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's the proper marketeer. I'm just like...
She's just the pretend one. I'm the RI.
she's
Easy. We can chat about that separately, but it's just interesting to think about how will that affect things in the future, not just for you, but for businesses in the industry. So, look, to wrap up the podcast, let's chat on your plans, sort of what's happening short term, and I guess if I could sit you back down, let's say in another year and a bit's time, where would you hope that the business would be?
Well, in the short term, we've got 2 new franchisees coming on board, so that's a huge achievement and great opportunity for them, who have they've decided to take up the opportunity of having their own Tots United club. One of them starting mid-July, the other one the beginning of August. So we're now in the process of getting them set up for success, really. So that's coming. We're off to America next week, so sunny Florida. We've got a series of meetings lined up there, so we'll see what kind of comes about from that. Anything else?
And I think kind of long term, just we want to try and give opportunities for others. There's 32 local authorities. Who's to say they can't be a Tots United class down in Murray or wherever it may be? Because there might be somebody watching this thinking, like, we'd love this.
Okay, so how do they get in touch with you if this person is thinking, like, I'm keen? What do they do? Where do they go?
Franchise at totsutd.co.uk. Send us an email, and then exactly. And one of us will get in touch with you. We'll give you a call, and we'll kind of take you through the process about what we're doing.
Excellent. Right, let's wrap up this podcast. From each of you, I want your proudest moment of Tots United so far.
That's easy. Well, you go first.
Oh, you go.
Sure. I've got 2.
You can't both say being here today. It's going to be awkward.
I would say there was a pretty boy. Can I give his name? Can I?
We could just
say
boy.
Yeah, there was a particular boy, and he was extremely shy. Like he kept holding on to mum, etc. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he's different. This is another thing. Kids are different with mums and dads. They're just different. And he was just extremely shy. And I said to mum, like, and she's like, "Oh, I don't think I will come." I was like, "No, you need to give it a couple of weeks. Anything you do, you need to give it another couple of weeks. Keep coming along." And I was taking the class. I'm sweating everywhere, and I'm like, "Listen, my neck's in the light." And this boy now is phenomenal. He was with us from 18 months. He was with us until he was about 7. He played in our football team. He's now with another local football team. He gets specialist goalkeeping training. He's just excelled.
Amazing.
And he now goes to follow football clubs. He's been down in England to watch just the transformation. Because I saw him that first session holding on to mum, etc. And just that change that Tots United has been able to do was incredible.
And you know what? He'll remember that as well. That's probably a story he'd tell, hasn't it?
The parents say that to me all the time. They speak to me all the time. They're like, "AJ, if it wasn't for you, he wouldn't be where he is." And I'm like, "Look, it's down to you guys. You brought him to the session, but just to see that journey with one little boy coming to Tots United and what it's done for him." And the parents say, "Look, the confidence, the self-esteem, everything that it's bringing together. He's become a sociable boy. He was very, he's an only child. There was things that he was just himself. So he's really out there now because of football." And we feel as if, Tots United, that particular session, we've done it. So for me, that's why I do what I do.
That's the everything in it.
Yeah. So it's just...
that totally falls into your ethos and values of care and love. Like, I'm sure there's many business moments that you could recall that have been a hugely proud achievement, but actually for you, it's seeing a child grow in confidence and excel at something, and that is exactly you're living and breathing your own brand values, and that's just lovely to hear. What about you, Yousif?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to that one because that child had been with us from day one. And, to see that, in real time was incredibly heartening. So that's definitely up there for me. I suppose I'll come in at it from a different angle, from a business perspective. Just being in the US, the New York maybe in particular, with the First Minister, his whole entourage, Scottish ministers, the whole Scottish delegation, being there, marching through 6th Avenue in Manhattan, with the bagpipes roaring, saltires flying every side of the... We could never have imagined that this would be us. Two simple guys from Glasgow on one of the biggest stages in the world. Yeah. And we're marching down with First Minister in the Tartan Day Parade. That was a hugely...
Almost like an out-of-body experience. You're like, how am I here?
Exactly.
That's pretty surreal.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah,
well, two very different moments, but equally important in terms of where the business has come from, what it's doing, how it's changed and things. So it's been really great to have you back on the podcast, and I hope when we have you back in the future, we can chat on what's happened a year from now, a year from then. And
we can do that one from your stadium that you eventually have in the director's box.
Maybe, I don't know, they will be in an international location or something.
That would be nice.
No pressure, guys. Listen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, chatting us through everything that's been happening at Tots United. It's been great to have you back. I don't know if you want to add anything.
No, just honestly, it's been amazing to watch. So we had you guys in here, I think about 2 years ago, and we just sort of watched this journey grow, and I've watched your whole story unfold on LinkedIn.
We're hugely proud of you.
Well, thanks so much, guys, for having us. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was a great episode.
It was a great episode.
I'm going to say, before we go any further and unpack what was in that episode, I'm the only professional one in this room, because you two have left your notification sounds on.
Literally, it's been so long since we've done this. People
I think every, 10 minutes in the office, all I hear is your ring doorbell going off. I'm like, how much...
People need to know who's at my door.
Yeah, but who's coming to the door so often? How many packages?
You need to talk to my wife about this, right? And we could all write in. I'll give you her personal email.
I'm friends with your wife on Facebook.
Yeah, you tell her that Amazon, right? She's either having an affair with the Amazon guy, right? Or the Amazon guy's there every 2 minutes. And we've just moved house. I haven't mentioned that in the podcast yet, but we seem to stay much closer to the Amazon depot, because it's at 8 a.m. the guy comes now. So
is that how it works?
Well, it must.
I don't know. Where's the Amazon depot?
In Greenock. So we're one of the first towns along from it.
Right, okay.
So it does work like that, doesn't it? Again, you can write in. My wife's...
Why are people writing in like we're agony ants?
My wife's email will be in the description. You can just email her directly and find out what's going on with these Amazon things. But yes...
We digress.
My notifications were going off like Billy-O. They were going bring, bring, bring.
Yes.
And then Troy, you probably heard them, so apologies. I'm still not turned anything off, so you might still get a ping or a pong.
Anyway... Other than that helpful information about your delivery times based on how close you are to the Amazon depot, I think there was much more helpful. I think there was much more helpful information in that podcast from AJ and Yousif.
There was indeed.
And what I love about them, kind of touched on it in the intro, was how they are growing their business through franchising. But they've not set really strict KPIs. So for some people in business, it will be about a growth journey, and it will be measured in, how many and what space of time. But they're very much about maintaining the quality of their coaches, their sessions, their classes, keeping their brand values true to, what they are without scaling. And, the fact they don't have necessarily goals around it in terms of we must have 10 by the end of the year, I think is probably what's driving a lot of their success.
And it's very much what's keeping them kind of keep in charge of the whole brand that they've got. It's not like they want to go, we've got a franchise available here and just kind of slap out to everybody. They really want to keep the reins on it.
I also love the split in business. They're both involved in it and both help with different bits. But, AJ's background from being a PE teacher and school curriculums versus Yousif with the kind of law aspect, commercial lawyer by trade, is really interesting in terms of, well, I wouldn't have known, for example, going international, we would need X, Y, and Z. AJ was kind of saying that, but Yousif has that part. But
that's right.
The school curriculum.
They were talking in law terms that they were well above our heads.
I know.
But they really kind of complement each other's skill sets. And getting into conversations that everybody's talking about these days in regards to AI, I really liked his reference. I mean, we're very much on the bus with this subject. We're trying to use it as ethically and as best we possibly can in here, but his what would he call it?
RI.
There is no substitute for RI, and that's very, very, very true. And I think that's how they've grown, is with the real intelligence behind both of them. And I mean, growing to the extent where, I mean, they might be in America now,
Yeah, I think at the time of this podcast going out, they probably will be either there or just getting ready to go.
Yeah,
I think
just
it's the
getting ready to
first week of July they're going, I think.
And they're not long back from America last year, where they were with the Glasgow Chamber of Commerce touring all over the place. Very worth checking out their socials.
Yeah.
And their LinkedIn.
They've got some great content, some great inspiration out there, and all of it's done organically with RI. There's no AI involved in that side of things, which we talked about is the right path to go down when it comes to content.
The correct path is the right path.
But no, it was a really great episode from two people who we've known for many years. We've kind of watched this journey from the sidelines, and they're going to be involved in more about shaping the future and direction of Class for Kids as we go into the kind of the next period of involvement of the business. So I'm super excited for that.
Sidelines like that? Did you mean that?
No, I didn't. It just comes to me naturally.
It just comes to you naturally, like penalty. No,
it doesn't really work.
That probably peaked. Cameron's going to have to fix that bit before we do that. Anyway, we've not done this in a long time. You ready? Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Tots United, for a start. But let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
Bye.